A man walks into a bar on a quiet Wednesday evening, carrying an old, faded shopping bag. He makes his way to a stool at the far end of the bar, sets the bag carefully on the counter, and adjusts himself before settling in. The bartender, a seasoned professional, takes note of the peculiar bag, but chooses not to ask any questions for now. Instead, he walks over with a friendly smile. "What can I get you?" the bartender asks. The man orders his usual, a cold pint of dark ale. As the bartender taps the keg, he notices that the shopping bag seems to be moving slightly. There's a strange rustling sound coming from it, and for a moment the bag shakes a little, as if something inside it is alive. The bartender furrows his brow but keeps his cool, choosing to ignore it for the time being. He places the freshly poured pint in front of the man. The man takes a long sip, looking around the bar, content with his drink. But the bartender's curiosity gets the better of him. His eyes keep darting back to the bag, and after a few moments he can't hold it in anymore. "Hey, what's in the bag?" he asks, trying to sound casual, though there's a definite hint of intrigue in his voice. The man chuckles, clearly enjoying the bartender's curiosity. "Oh, it's just a little something," he says, as he reaches down into the bag. The bartender leans in a little, eager to see what will come out next. To the bartender's surprise, the man pulls out a tiny piano, no bigger than a bread box, and sets it carefully on the bar. It's a beautiful little instrument, with shiny black keys and a polished surface that gleams under the dim light of the pub. The bartender stares at it for a moment before looking back at the man. Before the bartender can ask another question, the man digs into the bag again. This time, he pulls out a miniature piano bench, placing it neatly in front of the piano. The scene is starting to feel surreal, but the bartender doesn't say a word. He's too captivated by the oddity unfolding before him. And then, just when the bartender thinks the weirdness might be over, the man reaches into the bag once more, pulling out a tiny man, no taller than a foot. The little man takes his seat at the piano bench, adjusts himself for a moment, and then begins to play a beautiful piece on the tiny piano. The bartender is absolutely dumbfounded. He stares at the tiny pianist, who is playing with a level of skill that would put any concert pianist to shame. After a few moments, he finally finds his voice. "Wow, this guy sure can play!" the bartender exclaims, his mouth hanging open in amazement. "Where did you find him?" The man, still enjoying his beer, just shrugs casually and reaches back into the bag. The bartender watches in awe as the man pulls out a dusty old genie lamp, handing it over with a mischievous grin. "Here, rub it," the man says, nodding toward the lamp. The bartender raises an eyebrow. "A genie lamp?" he asks skeptically. "You're not serious, are you?" The man just gives him an encouraging look. "Go ahead, rub it. You might be surprised." The bartender is hesitant at first, but curiosity eventually gets the best of him. He takes the lamp in his hands, giving it a gentle rub with his thumb. To his utter shock, a swirl of smoke escapes the lamp, and a beautiful genie materializes before him. She's tall, with flowing hair, wearing shimmering garments that seem to glow even in the dim light of the bar. The genie smiles warmly and says, "I will grant you one wish, and one wish only." The bartender, still in shock, takes a moment to process what's happening. Then, after a brief pause, he decides on his wish. "I've always dreamed of having $1 million, the bartender says confidently. $1 million, please." The genie nods, and with a wave of her hand, disappears in a puff of smoke. The bartender stands there for a moment, waiting expectantly for his wish to be granted. But time passes and nothing happens. The man, who has been watching all of this with a faint smile, leans forward, glancing around the bar. A minute passes, then another. Finally, the bartender looks around, growing more confused. "I don't get it," the bartender mutters. "Where's my $1 million?" Suddenly, a duck appears at the end of the bar, waddling in from the entrance. The bartender stares at it wide-eyed. Then another duck waddles in, followed by another and another. In no time, the bar is filled with ducks, quacking, flapping, and waddling around in a frenzy. The bartender looks at the man, utterly bewildered. "This isn't right," he says. "I wished for $1 million, not 1,000,000 ducks." The man chuckles softly, shaking his head. "Yeah, I know," he replies with a grin. "Do you think I wanted a 12-inch pianist? Thank you so much for watching. If I brought a smile to your face today, I'd love for you to consider subscribing to the channel. Your support means a lot, and it helps me bring more fun and smiles your way. Don't forget to hit the bell so you never miss an update. See you next time.